This one is called The Pants.
Yeah.
Take 8.
Dude.
Welcome to Funniest Thing with Daryl and Ed, the best looking guys on the radio. We all know the funniest things happen when we stop taking ourselves too seriously and step out boldly, like Mr. Magoo blindly stepping onto the next swinging girder and falling into an outrageous jackpot. Your hosts, Daryl and Ed, are about to administer a refreshing dose of laughter and
the
love
YouTubers
that will
are watching
inspire
right now.
you to step out boldly and
I had to make
experience
sure Mr.
the
French
funniest
wasn't
things.
stealing stuff
Now,
from the
here
litter
are your
box.
hosts, Daryl and Ed.
Wow, perfect timing.
Yes.
Welcome to The Funniest Thing, where each week we share stories about how stepping out boldly always leads to better than expected outcomes.
Yes, we do.
I'm Daryl,
And I'm Ed.
and we're broadcasting live from Middle School Studios in downtown Culver City, the heart of Screenland.
Yes.
And today's episode is a fascinating, wonderful bit of news.
Yes, lay it on him.
It's all good things turn into something better.
Yes, they do.
So what do we expect to, what are our listeners going to expect to learn in this episode, Ed?
Funny you say that. Did you just use Listerine, by the way? 'Cause expecting the best is not only allowed, it's recommended. We always reap more than we sow when we trust in God. And in the second segment, Unity Minister David McClure will join Daryl and Ed to help us along on this topic and read and discuss today's daily word, which is grace.
Aren't you glad I used Listerine?
I know, that's expecting the best. And now I feel a little underdressed because I'm just been drinking coffee.
Today's show, why don't we just tell them how each week we're so enthusiastic
Yes.
about each week's show because it's the one thing that, well, you've told me, so I guess I can say that both of us look forward to because it really is like something that we could look forward to
Yes.
share with our friends, our listeners, of all this great stuff that we apply in our lives. And it actually makes us hyper aware of these tools.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And
Hyper and aware.
Yes, hyper and aware. And every week it tends like we turn open page, like it just seems like everything falls into place.
Yes.
And we don't get too crazy about throwing it together. We throw the whole burden of it on God. And it was just Friday or Thursday. I was in my car. I got news that General Motors is going to buy back the Camaro,
Yes.
which I love, and I'm starting going, oh man, now I really love this car. So
That's
the
right.
date is the 8th, which is Monday.
That's right.
And I said to Ed on the phone, I said, well, all good things come to an end. And as soon as I said it, I go, wait a minute. And then Ed chimed in at that same moment
right.
and said, wait a minute. It should be all good things turn into something better.
That's
And I
right.
said, you're absolutely right. And I already started to feel better.
Yes.
And so when you start, like if there's something in your life,
Yes.
you know, and you start to think, oh no, I could see this is coming to an end. And I've learned that when I'm actually in love with something so much, whether it's a job, like instead of like running away from, if I feel that much love about something that is coming to an end, that's a great sign.
Yes.
Because it really does mean that this door is closing and another door is opening for something even better.
Yes.
Not something less,
That's right.
not something smaller, not something, that I'm going to not enjoy as much.
Right.
It really always means something even better
Yes.
than this thing that you love right now.
That's right. And it's good. The good news is grace really means that no matter what we think, no matter what our mind starts to tell us, that we can't change the nature of life or God, which is always giving us more good, more of what we desire. We're always really becoming more of who we are. And that makes Daryl dance frequently.
Well, because I'm so excited about our readings, but I forgot we got 3 breaths first.
Well, but then let's do it up. Should we do it up with the breasts now then?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. You're a good soldier. I can see you're ready to go with vigor.
Yeah, I almost slept through the show, but I'm glad I woke up.
I know, me too. Me too.
My alarm went
Mr.
off.
French woke us up
Yeah.
and said, "Come on, guys, you got a show to do. get out. Stop hiding from under the covers. You're always in the right place.
Yeah, and I just want to let our listeners know, if you're new to our show, if you go to DarylNed.com and you're wondering who is Mr. French, our station manager, if you click on the Studio Crew tab,
That's right.
you'll get to see the whole funniest
Comfort,
thing crew. Yes.
Gabby, the Postal Pitbull,
That's
Mr.
right.
French, the studio manager. So anyway, we'll start with our breathing here.
Okay.
And it's really simple. And it goes along with today's show, which is, I am in the right place when I trust in God's grace.
Yes.
Meaning whenever we decide to turn back over and trust in God's grace, we always realize we're in the right place.
Yes, and we were talking about this earlier. This is a great affirmation to use if you find yourself getting frustrated on a line or in traffic. Wait a minute. I'm always in the right place when I trust in God's grace. And then you get to see that this isn't an inconvenience. Ooh, why am I being slowed down? Because I'm going to end up meeting the exact right person at the right time.
That's
when
right.
I get to that destination. Or most of the time when I practice this, I end up, time starts to expand in my favor when I get out of that.
That's right.
That mind
Oh,
of
man.
I got to hurry, I'm not going to get there in time.
Yeah.
And as soon as I just say, you know what, I'm going to just surrender. And it's magical. It really is. Life really is a reflection of our mental states.
Well, the Beatles were onto something when they said, it really doesn't matter if I'm wrong, I'm right. Where I belong, I'm right. Where I belong.
Okay, what's the chorus of that?
That is... what is that song?
I don't know, but it's good.
Fixing a hole where the rain gets in.
There
That's
you
what
go.
it is. I was waiting for Comfort to chime in, but he fell asleep with his face in a pile of in a gummy pool. Anyway, all right. Let's take a deep breath. I'm in the right place when I trust in God's grace. All right, we know we're going somewhere good.
I'm in the right place when I trust in God's grace.
I'm in the right place when I trust in God's grace. I think this is a good time for me to remind listeners that if you go to DarylandEd.com and click on the YouTube link, you can see this whole episode on YouTube.
Yes.
Because the reason I thought of that is because Daryl does these very interesting seal pup hands when he does the breathing. I think it's some kind of, like, what do they call that? Mudras in yoga?
Well, we learned that in the Coast Guard, the seal pup hands.
So go to DarylandEd.com to check out the seal pup hands and a lot more.
Before you get into that reading, these are great readings, but I just love this definition of grace.
Yeah.
If you're listening, and because you hear a lot, God's grace, or I'm a woman of grace and dignity. I mean, what does that mean? What does the word grace mean?
Daryl used to say that in the mirror, that he's a woman of grace and dignity, but it didn't do the trick. So
No, it didn't do the
you
trick.
found a better definition. So
Well,
what is
I
it?
realized, I'm not sure if I read this in Butterworth, that we like to give credit to where we get it, all the stuff we come across, because rarely have we invented it ourselves.
Right.
We just use it and get results and share it with you.
It pops up at the right moment when
Yes.
we need it.
And it's that grace is the fact that God's grace is the fact that we will always, and we always do, reap way more good than we sow.
That's right.
And we are never condemned or punished for our mistakes to the degree that we believe we ought to be.
Right.
Never. And all we need to do to activate God's grace
Yes.
is to believe in it.
Right.
It's that simple.
Well, this goes along with the whole idea of repentance, which is the true meaning of repentance is to change your mind about something.
Isn't that wonderful?
So the moment we change our mind about it, that's what real repentance is. We get back in alignment with ourselves. We become realigned with the truth. I was just thinking about the fact that I'm even here and that I have friends and that like there's 1,000,001 things that I'm reaping way more than I have sowed, right? The fact that I wake up in the morning and I have like this amazing life is in front of me. So I love that definition.
You just got me excited.
Go
One more
ahead.
tool.
Oh,
This
good.
I just heard. I'm not sure what the minister's name is.
Yes.
But I heard it from all places. I'm not afraid to admit it and fall on my sword.
Let's call him Kirky.
Well, no, I actually heard it on Joel Osteen.
Oh. Okay.
Well, anyway, but it wasn't Joel Osteen. It was another minister. And the minister said this, and I never heard this before, and it's a great...
Oh, on the same satellite channel you listen to?
Yeah, he was actually being interviewed by Joel.
Oh, okay.
So, you like how I call him by first
I
name
do.
now?
Well,
Yeah.
you've been spending like most of your day with him lately, so
We don't rule out anything.
No.
Anywhere you get inspiration, and that's why we love
right.
unity, is because there are many, many paths, to God. And
Yep.
whatever inspires you and keeps you fired up and enthusiastic about your life, utilize it. And he said this, he said, be thankful to God for what's going right in your life.
yes.
And he'll take care of what's going wrong.
That's
Meaning,
right.
don't focus on what you don't want to happen. Don't worry about the things you think might happen or
Yes.
not happen.
Yes.
Instead, just start being grateful for what is right in your life.
That's right.
And know that God is arranging all those things that you were concerned about
Yes.
for your highest good.
Yes. Yes. Because the concern basically means that we've forgotten the very fact that, as let's see what Florence Scovel Shinn says in The Game of Life here.
Yes.
And all of our readings are on our reading list at DarylandEd.com. You can order the books from some online distributor and enjoy them.
It's all just one
yourself.
click away.
Yeah. So here we go. From The Game of Life, which is, I would say this is probably your favorite book, huh?
Well,
this is the
it's
most
the-
recommended book when someone's like just...
So this is great if you have any new friends.
Yeah.
Because this is a great doorway into this whole new way of
Yeah,
looking at
it's light and
religion
effective.
and spirituality.
Yeah.
And it's not offensive in any way.
And it says, it is man's divine right to have plenty, more than enough. His barn should be full and his cup should flow over. This is God's idea for man. And when man breaks down the barriers of lack in his own consciousness, the golden age will be his, and every righteous desire of his heart fulfilled. And a big part of that is taking the time to sit and meditate every morning and throughout the day as well. But we always talk about the morning routine because the key to breaking down, quote, the barriers is really to breathe and let go, so that we're not being controlled by the same thought patterns that are not serving us. The ones that don't feel good, the one that's telling us that we need to, the one that might be telling me, like on my way to work today, like that these trucks are the reason why we're almost going to be late for school. Forget when I'm driving my son to school, even though A, we weren't really going to be late, right? And B, there was a lot more cars on the road than just those trucks and everything else. But so this morning, I think thanks to the morning routine, one of the barriers in the past, the morning was the easy time for me to dig into blame and blah blah blah. But for some reason, because I had a good morning routine and I had some inspired reading and I had meditated, I was thinking a lot about our show and about how God is always because I could see grace was moving me I could see God was moving in the right direction. I wasn't going to be late, but I also had another part of me that wanted to get into the drama of arguing and all of that. But I was thankfully today, and this is new for me to be this simple, but I was able to say, I know if I even in my mind, if I start treating other people that way, and also treating myself, because I was being hard on myself at the same time for not being peaceful enough, any of that stuff is going to boomerang on me. I know later in the day I'm going to run into somebody or somewhere, if I keep thinking those thoughts, that's going to show me what I'm thinking, and I'm not going to like it. I said, so you know what? I said, I'm not going to even think about anyone else on the road right now in a way, or treat other people the way I don't want to be treated or thought about, and sometimes for some reason that stuck with me today, and I just breathed, and I was, kind of just gentle with myself, saying, it's okay, it's okay. You're still waking up. It's okay. And as a result of that, I had a much smoother morning.
Well, because what happens is even this morning, I don't know why, but I've been having some rough mornings.
Yeah.
And I really have to be the loving but firm parent to myself.
Yeah.
Because like you're saying, there's that part of me that just wants to be like a kid who doesn't want to take his medicine.
That's right. That's
you know,
right.
and I go, no. But
Yeah.
but the healthier side's going, Daryl, just read the spiritual books.
Yeah.
And then go for your walk. And I almost want to dig into.
Yeah.
And it's gotten easier and easier to just give in. Like I have to grab myself like by the scruff of the
Yeah.
neck and the seat of the pants and say, come on.
Yeah,
We're going.
Totally. That's actually one of the things that my seat of the pants on the drive too was, my mind wanted to think like, but I started thinking about what I've been learning about and studying about what God is like, and I just started. I think it was Emmett has a reading on that. I just started, and I think Butterworth, like just started saying to myself, the God, what I want to be. What I want to feel connected to, what I want to know about, that God is always providing for me, that everything is moving in the right direction, that everything's going in the right direction for me.
We got the perfect tool for that coming up, that reading.
Yeah.
Let me read this real quick.
This is really good. This talks about what I was trying to get myself into a place of positive expectancy instead of negative expectancy.
That's
where
right.
I'm expecting good things to happen.
That's right. And this is from Charles Barker, The Power of Decision, and it says, why should you not expect the greatest and the finest in your life? And that means like whatever your dreams and goals, see yourself in the big dream and goal.
Yes.
It'll start elevating your mood. We exist in a divine bounty that awaits our taking. And the way of taking is a mental one that starts with desire, decision, and expectancy. No one is ever too young or too old to expect great things.
Yes.
No one is too poor or too rich to expect great things. If you are sick, expect to get well. If you are unhappy, expect to be happy.
Yes.
No power outside yourself is demanding that you be miserable.
Yes.
All of life wants you to be healthy, happy, and free to do what you want to do.
Yes.
And that goes along with a great episode we did, which is doing what you love is being of service.
Yes.
That the universe flows in a positive direction.
Right.
It's just, am I willing to let go of this negative self-pity, this negative small way of thinking that's making me feel bad in this moment? Because once we let go of it, and that's a great tool you're going to read on how to do that. 'Cause this just happened to fall into my email this morning, which you're about to read from Abraham Hicks.
Yeah.
And that was the key.
Right.
That changed it for me.
Because the big trick of it is, instead of learning, and this is where the work kind of comes in on our part or whatever, where we have to put in like focused energy, is to not go running and try to fix the things that part of ourselves is telling us needs to be fixed. Instead, to work with the part of ourselves that's telling us that everything that is wrong, and you know what I mean? Do what we have to do to redirect our focus back into the awareness that in God's reality, everything is always going well.
Well, that's why I like this reading, because it shares how the work is not as difficult as you think. And it's this simple.
It says, anytime you feel negative emotion, stop and say, something is important here, otherwise I would not be feeling this negative emotion. What is it that I want? And then simply turn your attention to what you do want. That was like me today, turning to what I did want, which is to be in tune with God. And it said, in the moment you turn your attention to what you want, the negative attraction will stop. And in the moment the negative attraction stops, the positive attraction will begin. And in that moment, your feeling will change from not feeling good to feeling good. And that is what they call the process of pivoting.
And it works.
Yes.
I immediately thought, because I was going, and I read it in spite of myself being a baby who didn't want his medicine. And I go, what do I want? I want to be happy. And as soon as I said I want to be happy, I started to feel happy.
Yeah.
And I said, and then I continued, I want to be joyous. I'm confident.
Yeah.
I'm enthusiastic.
And don't
I'm healthy.
Don't beat yourself up. If it's a long-standing thought process, it'll keep. For a while, it's going to want to keep going back in the direction of the negative. So even then, we got to just keep being gentle with our mind.
Well, that's why I added the walk, too.
Totally.
And as I was walking, I was even exaggerating like a child, like in a happy, I didn't care if anyone saw me.
Right.
And pretty soon, I was the happiest guy on the hill, waving to the other walkers and them waving back and smiling. And I was feeling as high as a kite. And then I met Eddie.
Well, let's walk right into the break here.
Because
Coming up next, we have Universal University / Unity minister, David McClure. He'll be joining Daryl and Ed to read and discuss and have fun with today's daily word, which is grace. So thank you for listening to Funniest Thing on Unity Online Radio.
What is called the pants? Take 8.
I got that good funniest thing.
Good. What is it?
Do you know what it is? Well, if I let the cat out of the bag, our YouTube listeners.
Are you going to share it in the third
YouTube
segment?
section. I mean, the YouTube segment. In the
Yeah, what do we know?
in the third segment.
Nice. Nice.
No, it's not Keytruda. That's his password. It's the David McClure 3 that I just sent you on email. Jeff, that's not the it's the David McClure.
Yeah, that's when he just tried to call me.
Oh. All right. Is that working? Did you get the email one?
Hey, you guys.
Hey! Oh, it's working. Can you do you have a camera on your computer or no, David?
I have a camera on my phone that's
Oh.
talking to you on.
No, that's okay. Because I think it has
It's not showing right now, and
That's-
you're
That's fine.
wait a minute. Maybe I'm supposed to turn something on.
Wait, Jeff's shaking his head. It sounds great. Whatever you
Yeah, it
do.
does. Yeah, you're fine. Don't.
Yeah.
change.
Yeah, I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Yeah.
That's
'cause you
fine
can't-
because
you
it
can't.
sounds fantastic. David's joined us.
That is awesome. Want to thank all the YouTube watchers for staying tuned during these breaks.
I'll tell you what, that funniest thing has something to do with.
Oh, nice. Nice. I still don't know.
I
what
forgot
it
to
is.
hold this up last episode.
You know, we did a funniest thing about that last week. It's
I
not
know.
the same one. There's another
No.
one. Okay.
And I forgot to hold this up last week.
Oh, well, tell them what it is.
Oh, that's right. This is my book. What if Godzilla just wanted a hug? Leading with the heart instead of the chin.
Can they get that on our website anywhere?
Yes, they can.
Where?
Right
I
on the
love that.
homepage. They scroll right down to the bottom of the homepage, and there's a button there.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so you could order it online.
My family loves it.
You're listening to
back?
Funniest Thing with Daryl and Ed, the best looking guys on the radio. If you have a question or comment about today's show, or if you'd like to join in the discussion, friend us on Facebook at Funniest Thing with Daryl and Ed, or email us at funniestthing@unityonlineradio.org. Now, back to Funniest Thing.
All right. Welcome back to Funniest Thing. Today's topic is all good things turn into something better.
That's right.
That's right.
They sure do.
Yes, they do. And our mind may not always believe that or when things are changing.
Who came up with that horrible slogan?
What all good things come to an end.
Yeah. And remember last episode, we discovered the correct phrase for, give until it stops hurting.
That's right.
Not
Give
give
until-
until it hurts. Give
That's
until it
right.
stops hurting.
That's right. That's right.
Giving always lifts our spirit. So
Yes.
this is the time we like to thank the most important people to us. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to do this at all, and that's our listeners.
Oh, yes. Thank you, listeners and watchers.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because if you are listening on
Unity
on
or
iTunes
or iTunes.
on the podcast, you can also watch this episode in its entirety, but including the little breaks that you don't hear
Yes.
on YouTube, and that's all through our website, which is darylanded.com.
Yes.
And we
yes.
also include on a button there, a tab there, I might as well tell you now, it's called Show Scripts.
Yes.
So after every episode, we post all the readings we read from, the links to everything we talked about.
The actual reading is there.
So you don't have to go searching.
And the YouTube episode.
The YouTube episode and
It's like
links.
a newsletter for each weekly newsletter from each episode.
And it's free.
Free!
And we also have a tab there if you want to start a Funniest Things study group.
That's right.
You know, if you want to have some good conversation with other like-minded friends of yours, All it takes is you and one other friend and a podcast, and you could even have all the readings right there. You don't even have to have all the books.
That's right.
Because we provide all that on the show scripts page.
That's right. And this is a time where we like to thank our chief engineer, the man who makes it sound so nice, our favorite audiophile,
Yes, he is.
Jeff Comfort, because each week he certainly does take us
Right
into the comfort
zone. Woo! The flyby.
And we can't forget the
Oh my
prayer
God.
line, because 800 now pray or 800-669-7729 is a great resource. It's a great resource to help you get back into the awareness that all good things turn into something better, because again, a lot of our minds carry these fears, and it's when we call the prayer line, someone who's really great at praying affirmatively and reminding us that God is always flowing, in our favor, like life is always moving in our favor, that God is always flowing toward more and never less, all these things. And just
my
hearing
God.
someone pray when we may feel stuck, for me, it just instantly opens up my awareness that all is well. And then they'll send you an email or a letter in the mail, the follow-up that has like affirmative prayer and reminds you. And Daryl has one of those right now. Actually, you can also use the You Pray app, the letter U Pray app, which is free at the App Store. And you can type in your prayers, and you can still get they'll still send you an email if you click the little button. It's awesome.
Well, wouldn't it be great if you could imagine, how we always think I'm all alone in this?
Mm-hmm.
But and people, you always hear like big shots,
Yes.
real estate magnates
Yes.
and CEOs.
Yes.
They have a team.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So they could sit back, they give the order, and they know their team's going to
That's
handle
right,
it.
that's right.
And that's what calling silent unity is like. So if you're
It's
a
true.
guy and you feel a little reluctant, this is for little old ladies.
Yeah.
No. The unity prayer line, it actually takes some guts to make that call, because you
Yeah.
feel like, I can handle this. But
Yeah, the
it's-
same goes for women. It's
Yeah.
like for anyone who thinks that you got to do it on your own, that it's weak, whatever,
Or
any
it's-
of that
well-
stuff, or that you feel hopeless, or any of that stuff. Just, I'm telling you, just to here's someone who's on the beam and praying from that place of knowing that all is well. It like helps our own brain. It's like a magnet. It pulls us in.
Well, and that you have a whole team, a whole prayer team
Yes.
praying for you. And last week I shared about how I was praying for my wife and a friend of hers. They were going to have a little powwow, and I called the prayer line again on that Saturday. They were getting together just to, something was going on, that there was some sort of misunderstanding. And I did the prayer line again, and sure enough, I just knew it was going to work out. Like I
Yeah.
could feel so confident about it. And of course, it turned out to be a wonderful, loving experience
Yes.
for both my wife and her friend.
Oh, it's great for before a meeting, anything that's bringing up any kind of concern. Yeah, that's another great use of the prayer line.
And a friend of ours, Larry Broughton, who was on the show, his brother just had some major surgery, and it didn't go well. It didn't appear to go well. So on my own, I just contacted the prayer line.
Yes.
I typed it in for Barry Broughton if you want to send love
Yes.
for his health. And they sent me back to prayer for protection. And it says, let these words assure you that the power and presence of God within each person and situation is resolving this and taking care of it.
Yes.
And what's nice is they'll give you a little affirmation.
Yes.
And this is the affirmation they gave me. Wherever you are, God is. God is your constant companion
Yes.
and your source of all good things.
Yes.
So anytime I had thoughts of Barry
Yeah.
being uncomfortable or in an uncomfortable situation, or
Yeah.
thinking like, oh my God, I hope that doesn't happen to me, or whatever
Right.
the crazy thoughts we have,
Yeah.
I would just say this affirmation. Immediately I felt the power of God working through the situation.
And I have a student who I've been helping who's in the junior college, and there's a certain grade required for her to pass the class on her final. And I didn't part of me was tempted to think I did a bad job as like a teacher if she doesn't, that it would reflect badly on me. Her mom would be mad, blah, 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 blah. And I didn't want any negativity around it, and I wanted to send love to her. So I sent in a prayer, and they said, we have faith that God's law of order is becoming more apparent in every life as we pray for you and Alina. Alina, if you want to send love to Alina, she has her final this week. And it says, as you unite your hearts with ours in prayer, please join us in affirming our lives are blessed by God's law of order. We live daily in an awareness of God within and of God's everlasting goodness, which goes perfect with our show today.
Yes, and speaking of our show,
Yes.
this is the favorite part of the show because we love the Daily Word.
Yes.
We don't promote the Daily Word for any other reason other than me and Ed have been subscribers and we get so much out of it.
Yes.
And you could get the Daily Word for an extremely discounted price at DarylandEd.com because, the Daily Word, it's not just for little old ladies. Go, Granny, go, Granny, go, Granny, go. Yeah. And talking about someone who's not a little old lady, we got David McClure with us.
Woo!
Hi, guys.
Hey! How are
How
you?
you doing?
Oh my God, we're doing great, man. It's great to hear your voice again.
Good to be back. Thanks for inviting me back. I really enjoyed our last time, and it's great to tune in again and be a part of your show.
Oh my God, I
Yeah.
gotta tell you a true story. I can't believe it. Just today, a fan messaged me from Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah.
He said, I was just at the gym and I was listening to the show from 4:15, and he goes, the guest was a Unity minister from Hawaii. And I said back to him, I said, funniest thing. I go, he's going to be with us again
Yes.
today. And he said, I'll be listening. And that's Kirk Chelson, who's now in Richmond, Virginia.
Oh, he is. Nice.
Yes. So you have a fan,
doing,
David.
I beg your pardon?
You have a fan.
Well, hi, Kurt. I'm thinking of you. I'm glad you're listening in today out there in Virginia.
Yes. Hey, Mr. Comfort, is there any way I can hear more of Mr. McClure? Thank you.
I can get closer to the mic if that would help too.
Well, that sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds good now. So are you ready to read the Daily Word today?
I got it right in front of me, and I'm ready to rock and roll.
All right.
Nice.
Okay, the word for today is grace. Wow, is that a word that means a lot to me? The affirmation is, I open my heart to God's grace. God's love includes an ever-present source of ease, the gift of divine grace. If I am praying for resolution to a situation for myself or a loved one, I affirm this truth. The activity of God's grace ensures every need is met. While grace is always there, I may close my heart to the peace it provides.
Mm-hmm.
As I stay in touch with God through prayer and meditation, I become more aware of the life-giving presence of grace. I expect a happy, healthy solution to emerge as I ask for guidance. Grace heals me and prepares me to accept more goodness in my life. Prosperity, joy, and peace are mine. I open my heart to grace and bask in my oneness with God. And from the book of Romans 1:5 we read, through whom we have received grace and apostleship to bring about the obedience of faith among all the Gentiles for the sake of his name.
Fantastic.
Gentiles.
The Gentiles.
We welcome all the Gentiles that are listening today.
Yes,
That's
thank
right.
God, or I wouldn't be able to be on the show. So, David, can you share with us some
Some insights on
yeah,
grace.
on grace and your experience with it?
Yes.
How you
Oh, wow.
identify with this one?
Well, as I said, I wouldn't be here without grace because, I've been going through this cancer thing, and I'm talking to you today because of the grace of God. Actually, a couple weeks ago, my oncologist finally told me that my cancer is in remission right now.
Yes.
Fantastic.
So I'm really thrilled about that, and that's the grace of God. It's the unconditional love of God in action, and it's always present and always available. It's undeserved, it's unmerited, it's unexpected, but it's love coming out in whatever form and whatever place it needs to come. My mother always used to come up and hug me, and she'd say, "That's for nothing. Wait till you do something."
Ah, that is fantastic.
And
God,
that's
that's
always
beautiful.
been grace to me.
Yeah, my father used to smack me in the back of the head and say, "That's for nothing. Wait till you do something." I wish I lived with the McClures.
That's awesome.
But you know what? That's a perfect example of grace too, David, because even in spite of my chaotic childhood,
Yeah.
look at where I am today.
Yes.
And look at how
That's right.
and how happy and how compassionate and how loving and forgiving I am,
Yes.
in my everyday existence, because grace exists
Yes, it does.
and I get to experience it in
Yes.
spite of myself or in spite of what I think of myself.
Yes.
That's exactly right.
It's incredible.
And it does lend to the idea of like when I'm trusting in the goodness of life and the goodness of God, and I do relax and I do move more gracefully through life. I'm more light. I'm walking
Yes.
more lightly. And I'm, that word graceful, even in that way. It's like someone who's really in the flow with God.
David, I
My
want to.
wife-
Oh, sorry. I was going to ask
I was
you.
going to say that my wife Donna always uses the expression, "I wrap you in a bubble of grace,"
Oh, that is a good one too.
and that's kind of what you're saying, Ed. Is you kind of walk in that grace. It goes with you. It's always accessible and available to you, and it protects you
Yes.
and benefits and blesses your life.
No doubt. It's like the moment I can like soften and let go of any fear that I might have about a situation, and then it's like I become not only a receiver but also like a projector or a channel through which that grace pours out into the experiences I'm having and blesses everyone around me.
Exactly right.
One thing I wanted to ask you, David, because I'm assuming this is true, but when you were going through your, going to the hospital visits and the doctor visits, I'm sure I just assume that you're a lot like me when you go to these things. You brought your very enthusiastic and hopeful spirit to the situation, which I think has a lot to do with what is returned.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Was that the
that's
case?
it. We don't have any control over the circumstances in our life, but we do have control of what we bring to those circumstances.
Yes.
And I always tried to bring the most positive unity attitude that I can know of. I've been in unity all my life since the age of 6, so it's second nature for me to go into a situation with the attitude, I can hardly wait to see the good that's going to come out of this.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
Take that attitude. You still have to go through the chemo, and you still have to go through the radiation and all the other stuff, but you're growing through it rather than simply going through it. You're becoming a stronger, healthier person as a result of keeping that attitude the way it should be.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. And it's true. It does transform the whole experience, because I hear so many. I'm a veteran and I go to the VA, David.
Yeah.
And 9 out of 10 people will, if you ask them about the VA,
Yes.
you're going to hear a litany of how horrendous it is.
Yes.
And in my
Yeah.
first visit, I went there and I was catching myself, because I went in with that belief,
Right.
thinking, oh, this is going to be like the DMV,
Right.
And I couldn't do it. I had to switch it around, and I started blessing the place
Yes.
like crazy. And I was calling Ed like every day. Oh my God, I love the VA. Everyone's so happy to see me. And it's
Yes.
true. You
Yes.
get back exactly what you bring to the situation. And it could
That's
be
right.
regardless of what other people's impression is of the place,
Yes.
or other people's experience with the same circumstances. they do not have to be true for you if they are not the best experience, because bringing this
Yes.
belief in grace, this attitude towards that situation, my doctors, actually, the one doctor said, "We're always so happy to see you. You're so positive. You should be on Oprah." And this is at the VA.
That's
But it's
fantastic.
wonderful because they light up. I'm healthy as a result,
Yes.
physically. As soon as I hear I have to go for an appointment, I feel good about going there,
Yes.
which I think creates a lot of the healing as well.
No kidding.
No kidding. It's like, Peanuts. There's that, I think it's Linus or Pigpen goes around with a big cloud of dirt around him all
Right.
the time. And that's one way to go into life. And then there's Daryl.
That's right.
Well, I got to let our listeners know, David McClure actually was the big impression in my life, because you were the first Unity church I ever walked into at a time of my life where I was a mess. I was just coming out of a mess. I was just 23 years old. And it was such a wonderful impression and such a kind and loving and exciting experience that it was okay. It wasn't just okay to believe in a loving, positive God that's on your side, but it was recommended. And
Yes.
so I'll be forever grateful, David. I'm sincere about that, and I really appreciate you being in my life. And it's amazing that you're on the show with us today, and I'm just so happy.
Can you guys repeat your theme for today again?
Yes.
The title is All Good Things Turn Into Something Better.
Yeah, well, Donna and I were watching a movie last night. I don't know if you've seen it. It's called The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel. At any rate, there's a line that's used all the way through it that reminded me of your theme. It says, "Everything will be all right in the end. And if it's not, then trust me, it's not the end."
Yes. Yes.
Dude, that's fantastic. On that, we got to go to a break.
That's a perfect to do this one line.
Okay,
When
what
I
is the
used to
line?
hear the Bible verse, "and it came to pass," I thought it meant it came to stay. But it really means if
Yes.
something's uncomfortable, it just came to pass.
That's my favorite Bible verse.
Yeah, well, now that maybe I learned the proper perspective from you, but before then it wasn't.
That's awesome. David, thank you so much for coming on.
You betcha. Thank you guys for having me, and best of everything, and look forward to next time.
We love
Yeah,
you.
we love keeping up with you on Facebook as well. So keep all that good stuff coming, man.
All right, I sure will, and you guys too.
All right, we love you. So coming up after the break, we'll have a joke of the day, listener mailbag, and more. So thank you for listening to Funniest Thing on Unity Online Radio.
This one is called The Pants. Take 8.
All right, thanks, David. We'll see you soon. I'll be in touch.
Okay, thank you, Daryl.
Bye-bye, buddy. Love you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
I wish our viewers could see Jeff Comfort, because if they see how he's like if anyone's watched The Little Rascals as a kid, there was the one where they went to this radio competition and it was the Silver String Submarine Band.
Yeah.
And there was a sound man in there. And like when things would go wrong, stuff would explode in the sound booth, and
Yeah.
the sound guy's trying to hold it all together,
right.
and his afro is blowing up. Well, that's exactly what happens to Comfort on our show when we start going a little long
Right.
into the break.
Yes.
So sorry, YouTube viewers, that you can't experience the joy,
full joy.
that we get when we see him start to hop up and down.
Well,
point
there's
to
also
his
the
watch.
classic putting his face in his hands or head in his hands when we say certain things on the air.
Well, you're not allowed to say certain words on Unity
Like chips.
Online Radio that sometimes fly out of our mouths.
I don't have any knowledge of what they're talking about, folks.
Wow! They heard the voice of Comfort.
Nice.
I think he's making it all
Comforter has
up.
come.
We got a great funniest thing.
Yes, we do.
We got a great joke. We got a great letter.
We got a great
And
reading.
a great reading.
What's the punchline?
Oh. Jesus saves.
Yes.
Jesus saves.
Yes.
Do you have the reading?
Yeah. The reading's right here.
We will be rejoining the other listeners.
Can you
wanna read it?
35 seconds.
And you bring us back.
Where Dr. Dog?
Thrift store find. I looked. It's a band that is like out of
okay.
Brooklyn. or
We're
something.
not allowed to have this on the air. It's been banned, but we're bringing it back.
That's right. They're like a hipster rock band but the shirt's really cool. And my wife is a thrift store. Really good at finding things at thrift stores.
This means they have beards.
That's true.
They good.
Coal miners.
Wait, no, Ed, that's not a real beard. That's
Are you
actually,
sipping a coffee
It's
through
a
a
soul
straw?
patch.
oh man, that's the way you keep your teeth white, baby.
Yeah, you don't get your lipstick.
This is Hollywood.
Now return to the funniest thing. Here are your hosts, Daryl and Ed, the best looking guys on the radio.
All right, welcome back to Funniest Thing with Daryl and Ed, and today's episode is called "All Good Things Turn Into Something Better."
Thank goodness. And
I
that's
know.
the truth.
That's right. And during the second segment, we had Reverend David McClure on the show, and it was fantastic. So if you missed that, you can go back to the archive or on the iTunes. If you go to DarylandEd.com, you can look on any of the tabs and listen or watch the way you want to. But every time David McClure comes on, it's always worth listening to. It's so uplifting. And he speaks from direct experience. He was a huge influence on Daryl's life, so in that way he was a huge influence
30
on my
years
life.
ago.
Yes, so we love
Amazing.
him. So we want to start with we like to do the really positive kick you up the stairs reading for the third segment.
Yeah, Daryl and I don't kick you down the stairs. We kick you up the stairs.
That's right. Hopefully you get a kick out of it.
Actually, that kick you up the stairs is something I use on myself when I start beating myself up, like regretting something I did that I think was so reprehensible.
Yeah.
I remind myself, don't beat yourself up. Use it for good. Like,
Yeah.
find a way to use this for good. Even if it's just taking that energy that I'm using to pound myself and do the dishes.
Yeah, yeah,
do
definitely.
something good.
My wife and I were just talking about the value of doing the dishes.
Oh, it's the best.
Yeah, it gets everything moving, and plus when you're done, so there was a mess and it's gone, and that could be like the perfect metaphor for like, because not only are you doing something, but you're actually benefiting as a result.
You remind me, if they want to listen to other episodes along, as Grace is Your Ace in the Hole is another good complimentary episode, and so
Yep.
is Doing What You Love is Being of Service. And I realized the other day, I don't like cleaning the house, but I always feel good once I start cleaning the house.
Yeah.
And this is why I realized when I'm cleaning up a mess, it's like I'm blessing my home.
Yes.
Because I start cleaning it, and I start appreciating my
yeah,
house.
yeah.
Like the things I'm cleaning. And then I feel really good. It's like, so if you really
Fantastic.
want to start getting grateful for your home, make your bed.
That's right.
All right, here's the reading. It's from Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes. Page 561. It's called I'm Not Bound by Any Mistake. There is nothing we have done, said, or thought which rises up against us, which has power over us, or which limits us. There is no memory of fear, no condemnation for previous mistakes. The universe holds nothing against us. It can hold nothing against us because it can know nothing unlike itself. Therefore, it only knows us as perfection. There has never been an occurrence for which we have to suffer. Consequently, every apparent shortcoming which could be traced to some mental or spiritual infringement of the law is not only removed, but the effect is healed. That means there is no history to our case. Case
Beautiful.
dismissed.
Oh, God, isn't that music to our ears?
So just start moving
Yes.
in a healthy direction. And because of the law of grace, your discretion, whatever you think it is already being transformed
yes.
and eliminated and wiped out.
Yeah,
You're
but
forgiven.
all that other stuff just turns into is just a distraction from how good we really are, how good our lives really are. How that's like with the kids I work with. Like my job is another example of something that has been blessed through grace and has gotten better and better and better. But it's like the kids that I work with, they could be doing all sorts of stuff, but the moment they start doing their work and start getting success, I swear all of that stuff is forgotten. Everyone's just so happy. For one, they're not giving them trouble anymore, and for two, everyone loves the feeling of seeing someone successful because it's a reflection of who we truly are, and that just feels good.
Speaking of feeling good, it's time for a joke.
All right, let's hear it.
Oh, I'm kicking this one off?
Oh, you're the
Okay.
you're the main man today.
Well, anyway, God decided
Yes.
he was going to have a competition
I see.
between the devil and Jesus, because these
All
guys
right.
they're really fun-loving guys when you get to know them. It's not like this big thing where they hate each other.
That's right.
You know, so they're going to have this competition.
Check out Little Nicky. It's a good example.
Oh,
of that
that's
movie.
a great. Actually, that is bizarrely positive.
Yeah, all
that
right.
movie. But anyway,
So
so
the big competition.
big competition, computer challenge,
A computer challenge.
a computer challenge,
Yes.
and halfway through the challenge,
Right.
or it was actually right about toward the end of the challenge.
Kind of like one of those secretarial things where there's typing.
yes,
and
all that
right?
stuff, right? The system crashes,
Oh my goodness. Okay.
and what happens is the devil's all his work seems to be lost.
But so the devil's lost all his work, right?
Yeah.
But you got to keep telling a little. You got to tell us a little more of what ended up happening to like.
Oh, I forgot what happened.
Well, if I remember it correctly, somehow, right? Jesus wins.
Oh, that's right.
God comes out and says-
that's right. After all the crash, the devil stuff is like he can't find it. He's panicking. He's freaking out.
Right,
It's
he's-
not there. But Jesus, all his work gets turned in.
Right, and he wins the contest. And
He wins the contest.
Right, and that's when the devil went up to God. He said, "This thing's got to be rigged. Jesus turned in all his stuff. Mine was all gone with the crash. What's going on here?
I think he said, "How could that be?"
How could that be?"
Yeah, and then God just turns to the devil and grins and says, "Well, we all know Jesus saves." We were saved by the cannon fodder on that joke.
All right.
Thank God. Gabby the Postal Pitbull's here. Oh, yeah. Gabby!
Gabby! All right. So we got one good letter
Oh,
today. I think we have time for one.
Okay, read it up.
This is from Eric Varndell from Medina, Ohio.
Woo!
He's been on the show before.
Yes, he has.
He's a great fellow who has. Can we tell everyone what he does for a living, or he has some kind of big highfalutin corporate? He used to be like a what?
He was a VP. He loves audio.
He loves audio.
Audio engineer.
He's super successful in the corporate world. Now he's being successful in the
Global brand manager.
global brand manager. And he said, "I'm currently in India," because he went through a huge transition, stepped out on faith, right?
Yes.
And we talked to him on the air during that time. And he said, "I'm currently in India. I've been traveling almost 3 weeks for my new job. The funniest thing happened today. On the plane from Ahmedabad,
That's good
to
enough to
Bangalore,
me. That's good
I
enough for me.
coincidentally was seated next to a sister in the Brahm Kumaris World Spiritual Church.
And you'll be able to read these words on our website.
Yeah, so he was seated next to a nun from this order, the
Right.
Brahm Kumaris World Spiritual Church. And we started talking, and she told me all about her highly evolved spiritual life. It was incredible. I realized as she was talking to me how much of these Eastern philosophies that Chuck and Myrtle, the Fillmores, took from Eastern religion for unity, or share with
Right.
Eastern philosophy, Eastern religion. It was like I was talking to a unity minister, but an Indian and in India, and not associated at all with unity. You know what I mean. This whole experience has just reinforced for me all the stuff you and Ed talk about on the show. This job came to me easily and effortlessly, and look at where it has already taken me. He said, I've also been to Panama and Mexico City twice since taking the job less than 3 months ago. Eric.
And we love you, Eric. And the reason he sent me that letter is this funniest thing.
Yes.
Okay, for the past few weeks, I had a friend of mine is actually a agent for a professional speaker.
Right. Yeah.
So he charges like tens of thousands, and
Yeah.
she's heard me speak
Right.
at some things, and she said, so she feels I could be, I should be doing this. And I've been very reluctant. And I've only been reluctant out of fear.
Right.
And just like, well, I don't want to be warming,
Right.
just crap. And anyway, Monday morning it came to a head, and I said, I got to do something about this. And I was feeling depressed, and I started just affirming for myself, not to be a speaker, but I started thinking of myself like, I am confident.
Yes.
My dreams come to me. And I started to feel why I was uncomfortable about being a speaker, because I started feeling that I should keep my head down, because people who've known me throughout my life,
Yes.
like our family members,
Right.
Like even someone told Jesus, nothing good comes out of Nazareth.
Right.
So I started thinking, how dare I think I have
Yes.
something good to offer, like above what they think? And that made me remember, wait a minute, this is crap.
Yes.
Like, these limiting beliefs have nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
I'm taking on what I think other people perceive me as, which isn't even true.
Right.
I'm making it up. So I just started going, I'm confident. My dreams come to me. I love sharing love. I'm enthusiastic. All these good qualities. And that same day, out of the blue, this woman, her name's Lisa Henry, sends me this email. So-and-so can't do this. I'm recommending you send them a letter.
The very lady you were worried about and thinking about that day emailed you and offered you an opportunity.
I know, and this is
Amazing.
like out of the blue. The last time that she sent me something was like months ago.
Right.
And it was on the same day, and I could not believe how those affirmations brought this to
Yeah.
me. So the reason Eric was writing me back was I was asking him if he wouldn't mind giving me a recommendation.
Fantastic.
Which he is, and he sent this great letter. So I updated my page thanks to Ed, because I couldn't see myself objectively, and another friend of ours. So if you check out thiswillmakeyouhappy.com or darylfazaro.com, you'll see my new About page.
Well, you know what you just did right there?
What?
You turn the fear around. The love of God is gushing.
The love of God is gushing.
Turn it upside down.
Woo!
The love of God is gushing. Yeah. I love to hear it.
Love to hear it. Love to hear it. Wow! Woo! Thank you for watching Funniest Thing with Daryl and Ed. Check out darylanded.com to find easy links to everything we do, including the Funniest Thing podcast on iTunes, our YouTube page, our Twitter at Daryl and Ed,
We love you.
and the Funniest Thing fan page on Facebook. And as always, thank you for being a
Bye-bye,
part of
Jeff Fox,
Funniest
Steve
Thing with Daryl and Ed on Unity Online Radio.
Yeah, turn the fear around. The love of God is gushing. Yeah, turn it upside down. The love of God is gushing. Yeah, love of God, love of God, love of God is gushing. Yeah, woo!
Turn it off.
Oh, okay.
Are we still recording? For
Yes,
YouTube?
we're recording for YouTube. Are you going to tell everyone we love them?